Hi, and welcome to the SEO podcast, Unknown Secrets of Internet Marketing. My name is Chris Burris, owner of eWebStyle.
I am Charles Lewis, your Internet Marketing Specialist.
At eWebStyle.
At eWebStyle.
You notice I almost messed it up there? I almost messed up that beginning. Remember,
I thought it was a little different.
Yeah, I paused in some odd spot because I was about to say something else. Remember, we are your friendly local neighborhood top position snatchers, where our mantra is...
Don't be a douche.
Don't be a douche.
Yeah, it's not a good look. The
Douchey,
not a good look at all.
Not good. This is podcast number 197. Our tip from podcast number 196 is make sure the images on your site serve a purpose other than simply filling in space.
Yeah, a lot of times when designing a site, and I can speak to this because I'm actually in this process now, when populating content, you get to a spot where you have a ton of verbiage and you really need images to kind of help guide that. Make sure those images that you use have a purpose, that it's not just a space filler, that it's not just there just because. Make sure that image is either a CTA, make sure maybe it visually communicates what that content is about, but the image should definitely have some purpose more than just being a space filler.
Absolutely. And that's not that difficult to do. Just
Speaking of that image, make sure you tag it, entitle it, and optimize it as well.
And
just
preferably it should be
dropping that on there.
Original.
It definitely should be an original image.
If you are in a position to, if you can, go ahead and tweet now. What should they tweet, Mr. Chuck?
Today's tweet is hashtag SEO Podcast. This is number 197. Let me see if y'all can see my tweet. Be sure to tag us in it at eWebStyle. And then that way we can follow you, we can link up and do all of our social stuff.
You can do us two favors. If you get any value out of this podcast, if you appreciate that we've improved the audio, there's two things that you could do for us. One of them takes 3 steps. The first one is go onto iTunes, write a review, and after you create an account. So let's do that again. Go into iTunes, create an account,
write a review. There you go.
If you choose to, please send us an email, podcast@e-webstyle.com. By the way, if you're in some other country, make sure you send us an email, because in iTunes, in order to see your review, I actually have to set my iTunes to a particular country, obviously the country that you are in, so I can see your review. So there may be reviews out there in some places that we don't get as much traffic from, that I don't visit because I just assume, as statistically, we're not going to get a review there. If you're in
that country,
whatever
that country is,
that
happens to not be the U.S.
Let's see. So 76. We've been downloaded in 76 countries. So if you're in one of the, I don't know, we'll say 68 countries that I don't check regularly, go ahead and make sure you send us an email. The other thing that you could do is you could write us a G+ Local review.
Yes.
As you know, G+ Local URLs are incredibly long, annoying, and frustrating, and Google, come on, get your act together, make them simpler.
Give us vanity URLs. We're waiting on them.
What we've done for you is we've made it easy for you to get to our G+ Local page so that you can write us a review. All you need to do is go to e-webstyle.com/Google+
or /G+. And you can use the plus spelled out or the plus symbol, however you want to do it. Either way, it'll take you to our Google+ page. Leave us a review. And +1 is why you're there, too.
We have some good reviews today. We'll get to those in just a second. We do have a referral program. If you have an SEO client that you don't want to handle and you still want to get paid, send them our direction.
As long as they're paying. Don't send us no bad bills.
Yeah, if they don't pay their bill. You can keep them. We'll just keep it that simple. All right, here are some of our reviews. This one is thank you, G+ Local. Renee Grosskretz. I know I butchered that.
Yeah.
Grosskreutz. It
just looks like it's supposed to be a ski at the end.
Yeah. Quality excellent. I cannot say enough about these guys. I listen to their show as often as I possibly can. I am a web developer, and everything that I've learned about SEO has somehow stemmed from them. Yeah, it's awesome. I am not a pro SEO person, but I am sure learning enough to be dangerous. Thank you guys, Renee.
Punch in the face to you, Renee. I'm glad to see that you made it known that you're an SEO person, or that you're a developer.
Yep.
Because a lot of times I'm not sure who's listening. Like, are we getting mostly developers or web designers or SEO people or whatnot? Figure our audience is probably a combination of all. But kudos to you. I'm glad we're helping you, Renee. And hit us up. Let us know what you're working on. How's it working out? What tip have you used recently that really showed you some positive results?
That had an impact. All right, I can check that as read so that we don't duplicate ourselves. We're going to read one more review. This is from Hugo Castanheira. That's a Portuguese name. Fantastic podcast about SEO. This is a must-hear for everyone interested in SEO. I'm a huge fan. Download religiously every single podcast and listen while commuting. It is true that sound quality is far from perfect, but I've learned so much, practical tips, insightful articles, new tools, etc. All of this for free.
Freedom.
And in a funny way. Please continue. You do a great job, and you deserve all. We got all the work you put behind this, all the success we get into it from the work we put behind it.
Okay.
And he goes, abraco.
De Portugal.
De Portugal. So, hey, that's one of our Portuguese listeners. Woohoo, love that.
What's his name? Hugo. Punch in the face to you. Man, thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
I don't know
really
the Brazilian translation of punch in the face.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to know.
Yeah. It's jiu-jitsu and it hurts.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
Yeah. I'm tapping out right now, right? Just don't even throw that first punch. I'm out. Here's remember Gary Miller, the one who used to have the sign. It was like, look at me when they were watching on the show. So he's got a question for us. What's better for SEO purposes, to have new content posted to your website regularly, or to post articles to other social blog sites with links coming back to your main page? How do the search engines vary on this?
So, great question, Gary.
Yeah.
And I think depending on your strategy or how much content you have, or your access to available content
And quality of content that you have
my
on your
recommendation
site.
is going to be both. There are benefits to both. In regards to having that content on your site, personally, that's our preference. I think there's more value. If you write a let's say 400-word great blog post that you spend a lot of time finding, content and images and video and all of the things that support a good post, if it's related to your industry, post it on your site. Now, what you may want to do after you've done that is remix it and then maybe post a portion of it on some guest blog with a link to yours for more information, where they could read your entire article about it. But anytime you have great original content, post it on your site. They're definitely trying to get traffic to your site, because the content on your site, I believe, has more value than the link from the guest post coming to your site.
And your ultimate goal, I would say this: if you think the article is good enough to be link bait, go ahead and make sure you post that on yours. If it's less of a link bait article, then you make that debate. Maybe you want to put it on a guest post or something like that.
Because you would hate to guest post it somewhere else, and then it goes extremely viral, right? Which is still kind of cool because you have a link to your site in it, but wouldn't it be awesome if it went viral on your site?
Yep. All right, next question. So this is a little bit long, and this is less of a question. It's just it's kind of cool. Here we go. I stumbled across the podcast recently. I've been listening to all the old podcasts. Just wanted to first say, nice job. It's informative. I like that. Unlike some other internet marketing podcasts, it deals with specifics that are actionable for small business owners and people who are getting started in SEO. Now, I hope you take this criticism in stride, as the only reason I'm telling you this is because I think it'll help you guys. However, your company's website is ugly.
Ugly.
It reminds me of this. We need to actually post that on Facebook. It's a
the link, yeah.
Homer Simpson's website. It was hilarious. Now, I know you guys focus on SEO and design isn't necessarily as crucial. However, if I was searching SEO Houston, the other people that rank for that term have better looking websites. We make that point all the time to our clients. And as a consumer, I'd feel more confident to do business with your competitors if I was just searching cold from Google. Hope you don't mind the tough love. Just really trying to help. Brett, my response was, OMG, that is awesome, because the Homer Simpson webpage was awesome and actually had some resemblance. Seriously, thanks for the critique. You are right, it is ugly. We're in the process of rebranding. I already have logo and we'll be following shortly with app focused on the podcast. You will get a punch in the face next podcast, number 197. That's it.
That's today.
Thanks for being
Punch
a fan and caring enough to give us a website analysis.
Yeah.
And he wrote back, haha, glad you didn't take it the wrong way. Good to hear you're redesigning. I think it'll help. And he'll be writing an iTunes review soon. I checked this morning, Brett. Kicking the shins, it's not there.
Yeah, appreciate you, Brett. I really do appreciate the feedback, but it is something we've known and known for quite a while. to be honest. It's a process. We first started with the logo, that's been done. Then we had to design our app, that's in progress. And now we're in the process of redesigning that site that you're talking about. And so we're debating on posting mock-ups, probably won't. But just know that the new e-website is coming soon, and I'll definitely be reaching out to you once we launch it so you can review it. And I'm curious to get your thoughts after we launch the new one.
Yeah, we need an upgraded positive review.
How old is that one? The current one? Because it was old when I came.
Yeah, the current one was the one that you, when you first started with us, you expedited to get live.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was decent at the time.
Yeah, that was 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
Time to redo the website. All right, and then this is a little long, has some questions in it, so I want to get this. Starts off, this is from Don Bennett. I wrote a 5-star iTunes review on December 18th. Punch in the face for that, Mr. Don. Your podcast has been a big help to this neophyte. Probably the best tip was to verify your...
Neophyte?
Did I say fit?
You said fight?
Yeah, neophyte, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To verify your NAP, and that's capital N, capital A, capital P, on large lists in order to rank well on Google Local, a place where I was having trouble. What I found was not a NAP problem, but that my listing with yellow pages pointed at my old domain name. Fixed that and started ranking well right away. First off, great. I'm glad
you found the problem.
Second off, what's NAP? NAP is what we do right after lunch, usually.
Yeah.
I don't know what NAP stands for. If we mention it in our podcast,
we probably mentioned it for something else.
Once you re-educate us, we'll add it to our glossary so we never forget it.
Yeah, like which podcast are you listening to?
He continues, this leads me to some advice that I invite you to comment upon. Choose to take a beating rather than change your domain name. What a terrible idea that was, okay? So I would...
Choose to take a beating
rather than change your domain name. What's funny is we just discussed this in our interview on the Content Marketing Podcast, where Rachel Parker was talking about she had a client who had hired some unscrupulous link builders. At the time they were doing it according to Google's guidelines, and now they're no longer. Remember, Google's guidelines they change, and there aren't necessarily, those are current guidelines. They're not necessarily best practices. For instance, buying links just doesn't make sense to be a best practice, and getting cheesy links. Anyway, so we just discussed that, and our conclusion was, in his case, when he dropped his ranking, his unscrupulous link builders decided to double down, do twice as many, and so he just gave up that domain. Anyway, so I came across a tip for keyword densifying. Sounds better than stuffing. Create a file structure that contains keyword-rich folder names. For instance, I saw that you use SEO Houston as a directory name on your own site. That path is referenced often. Does this technique still work? It works a lot less than it used to. Yeah. I think it is still relevant, and it's not as impactful as before. So better content, better inbound links will do better, and some updates to your content. One final thing, for all of my article reading and podcast listening, it took me forever to learn that Google does not read the keyword meta tag. I would do competitive analysis on competitors and look at their HTML, and he's like, why are these noobs ranking on the first page? They don't even have keyword meta tags.
Because it doesn't matter.
Google doesn't care. Now, they probably didn't do well in Bing. A last thing, I am being a douche if I take a small secret pleasure in clicking on a competitor's AdWords. That's a question. Yes. I try to resist the dark side. Tell me you two haven't done that. Well, we can't tell you that we haven't done that.
Yeah, because I have.
Yeah.
I mean, we do internet marketing, so unfortunately, I click on paid ads all the time. But I'm looking at competitors, landing pages, designs. I'm looking at things of that nature. I'm looking at the URL string.
FedEx.
And so, those things come into play. I want to address something else you said up here. In regards to the subdirectory, it does work well in a sense that SEO Houston becomes part of our URL. So you end up on a, ewebstar.com/SEO Houston / whatever. And so in that case, it does get our extra keyword in the URL. But Chris is absolutely correct. Luckily, when we've made those changes, Google's algorithm changes hadn't happened in 2012. And so we were able to take advantage of that and rank. If we did those practices now, I'm not sure we'd get that same result.
Yeah.
It's more about content, which is what some of the things we'll talk about, today. It's more about your content, the URL structure, and different domain names. I think he talked about canning a domain name or whatnot. That's all is not as important as it used to be.
Now, I think I would say this: if you're really going after the #1 position, it still has a lot of value.
It has a ton of value for that.
The domain name SEOHouston.com has consistently outperformed us on SEOHouston.com, and that's just.
But you know why? The only reason that works is if that exact match domain name happens to be the real name of your company.
Right.
If your company is something else and you're using an exact match domain name, then there's no value there whatsoever.
Yeah.
But if your name happens to be that, then you're in a good place.
Cool. I do have a little bit of news. I think we're running a little long, so and that was some good content. Great questions, by the way. We really appreciate it.
Send us more questions.
Let's talk about that for a second. If you guys want to get us questions or interact with us, you can go to facebook.com/eWebStyle, twitter.com/eWebStyle, youtube.com/eWebStyle, or you can email us podcast@e-webstyle.com.
Let's
see, real quickly, you mentioned BlackBerry. They had a bad quarter. It's not really going good.
You asked me what I thought was going to happen with BlackBerry earlier. I think somebody like either probably Samsung or somebody like that is going to buy them and come out with a whole brand of phone exclusive for corporations and give it and do something that way. Because that's still their market. And so.
Yep. I think
other than that, they're going to fold.
And Android's done a much better job with security, coming out with things to be secure with. I think Apple has done the same thing. So really that clutch that they have on that niche market is going away. I know that they're strong in Latin America because they've got like a BlackBerry chat feature, which
BBM.
is free.
BBM is huge.
Yeah, and that's going away because WhatsApp is
Gtalk, Hangouts.
All of them are taking that over. So. Although I don't know if BBM uses bandwidth, right? So what your bandwidth issues, not that it uses much bandwidth, it doesn't, almost nothing. And certainly it doesn't count against you if you're on a Wi-Fi connection. I saw an ad for the Galaxy S4 Active. That's kind of cool. You can splash water on it and sand and all that. That's cool.
They got like 5 different versions of the
GS4. Remember last podcast we mentioned that some people are worried that they're going to get confused about what too many options for the GS4. I tended to disagree. Now, you didn't know this, and it's amazing I knew something about sports that you didn't. That's just bizarre.
I'm going to chalk that up to just being out of pocket.
Victor Oladipo was seen at the NBA draft wearing Google glasses. And I loved what the article said. The article said, yeah, I think Google just gave the glasses to the NBA and said, please put these on someone who doesn't look like a nincompoop. I just love that word anyway.
Probably.
Nincompoop. And this is cool. Microsoft in their latest software is actually supporting 3D printing. I think that's cool. I've always wanted to get one of the 3D printers. I just don't know what I would make, and it would be just a waste of time and money.
Yes, if it's not big enough for you to print anything fathead, then...
Well, it's not just fathead, it's 3D, right? So you can actually make, like, you could make a model of this office. You could make a model of of your ideal cell phone.
And it's going to print that way.
It prints a 3D device, a thing, not device, thing.
Yeah.
It'd be fun, right? Like your mind goes crazy, and then you're like, and then I start thinking, well, what would I actually do with that? And I'm like,
exactly. Only thing I could think of is posters that look somewhat 3D.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right, so that is the potatoes of our podcast. We've exceeded our Geno time limit. Now let's get to the meat.
So I was at one of my favorite sites, Search Engine Journal, came across an article, 10 SEO industry trends, what to look for in 2013 and 2014. You know, one of those titles that kind of caught my attention, like, okay, some things I should be aware of, what's happening, what's going to happen, what do I think is happening. And so he lists a few, and we'll breeze through these, because some of them I disagreed with, and some I thought were actually okay. Number 1, content continues to be important, but requires more depth and more detail. Yeah, you can't continue to put out bland content or just content just for the sake of posting content. This content must have value, it must serve a purpose, it must answer some questions like who needs it, how can they benefit from it, and why should they use it. If your content doesn't address those issues and really solve a particular pain, then your content serves no purpose. So it's going to be extremely important, but even more importantly, this content must have value. Number 2, different kinds of content help you get traction. I totally agree. Repurpose your content will be my recommendation. You write a good blog post, turn around and maybe transcribe it and do it in video, or turn it into an infographic, or do something like that. And that way you can have the same content that's been proven used in different sources to get more traction. Number 3, author authority matters. Check out podcast 195. We talked about authorship, and yeah, Google is liking the results. Matt Cutts put out a video, said they are pleased with the results from the authorship tag they've been testing, and looking forward to doing all sorts of other things with it. So authorship is extremely important. Make sure you have that set up. Number 4, links remain critical, but the bar for quality keeps going up. That is totally true. No longer the days that you can just build links and get some sort of value from them. No, even if you get these links from sites that maybe have a high PR, it doesn't matter. These links have to come from sites that are quality, have to come from sites that are relative to what you do, and they have to be credible sites. And that way you can receive some value for those links, because if they're not, then you're not going to get any value for them. Number 5, diversifying link text is ongoing. That was an algorithm update, talked about exact match anchor text. Your link text has to change, it has to diversify, but that way you don't be spamming people with keyword-based, keyword stuff links and things like that. Great design matters. It does. I don't care what people say. Why ain't gonna say that? Because we say it all the time. We have a business owner. He has an ugly site, but it's generating leads, and he's gonna be happy with his ugly site. Yep. And so I will say that great design matters, because it does. Google is interested in great design. We want to make sure that when users visit your site, that they feel comfortable, that they can navigate easily, that they can find what they're looking for, and you accomplish that with great design. So yes, it does matter.
Well, I think the purpose of that example is to show it's not the end-all be-all. So yeah, choosing the company that can make the greatest aesthetic website is not as valuable as choosing a company who can make a good website that actually converts,
that turns into business,
visitors into business. Yeah.
Number 7, guest posting comes under increasing scrutiny, and it does, which is another reason why to address Gary, I think it was Don, yeah. Why you may want to keep those posts on your site, because guest posting, 2012 had a huge explosion. Everybody was guest posting and sharing links. The problem is people were repurposing content, and so guest posting is not that valuable no more. It's too many sites offering it, and a lot of guest posting used to be a feature, right? You have a set of authors who contribute faithfully, and then you sprinkle in a guest post from some huge author from another publication. But now if I'm guest posting and he's guest posting and you're guest posting and everybody's guest posting, then the site really has no solid foundation. And so yeah, keep your guest posting to a minimum. Number 8, social continues to exert a powerful influence. Catch up. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, G+, they're leading the pack right now. Vine, they had a birthday and death day in the same year. Yeah, it's tough out there. Number 9. Exactly. Number 9, mobile performance and compatibility matter. Mobile, what was it? 2 out of every 10 searches happen on a mobile device. So mobile is extremely important. Yeah. If you make sure your site, you have an app. If you require that much mobile activity, at the very least, make sure you have a mobile version of your site. Maybe experiment with some responsive design if necessary. But make sure that you definitely keep mobile in your strategy.
And we'd recommend an actual mobile design as opposed to a responsive design.
Definitely. And that's not at least number 10. SEO is less tactics and more strategy. And I totally concur. As a person who does SEO daily, it's definitely more strategy. At first it used to be tactics, right? Yeah. Write your content, do your on page, build links, do this, do that. Now it's more strategy. Right? What purpose do I need this content to serve? what type of people am I looking to get here? When they get here, what do I want them to do, and what do I want them to do after that? And then I have to build my site, design the site, and create this content that accomplishes that goal. And so it's not about just doing some things and getting a position. It's about doing those things, getting the position, and then making sure my strategy is in place to get the results we want. So yeah, it's more about strategy.
Yeah, and overall strategy, right?
Yeah.
Because we may, you know, Charles just mentioned that social is important. So what's your social strategy?
Mm-hmm.
Do you got a newsletter that's going out? Do you repurpose the content that goes out in your newsletter? The overall,
Yeah, are you blogging? Are you syncing your blog up in sync with your Twitter post and your Facebook post? And is it all being tied into your newsletter? I mean, that sort of deal.
Are you doing videos? What are you doing with those videos? How you're linking those videos through your social accounts and through your actual website? All of that.
Yeah,
One
it's
big
definitely
picture.
more about strategy now than it is tactics. Frankly, that goes for PPC as well, especially with all of the AdWords changes. We'll talk about that another time. So that was our content for today.
Cool. Any blank stare?
Well, yeah, I got some blanks there.
Okay.
Yeah. And I usually don't. This blank stare goes, I got two of them. One goes to my guy Hernandez for the Patriots. Like, dude, I was just cheering for you. No. Good luck with that. And the second one goes to, you
What
remember
happened with
him?
him?
He's facing a double murder.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, I mean, like literally weeks after the Super Bowl. Like, I know y'all lost. You know what I'm saying? I hope it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Wow.
And number two, Paula Dean. Yeah, good luck with that. You know.
Now, just she's getting harangued for something she said like 30 years ago,
Yeah,
right?
it's really, really bad, and I disagree. Frankly, I feel like it was 30 years ago, and
I was telling you, I used to tell horrible jokes a long time ago. I just literally at the time didn't know better, and you know, and I grew up in a pretty progressive household, so you know, it's kind of weird that I didn't know better. And so, like 30 years ago, I mean, my opinions and what's acceptable and what wasn't, what seemed to be acceptable then and what clearly isn't acceptable now have totally changed,
yeah.
right? So it's been 30 years. I kind of doubt that that was the only time she ever said that. I mean, I think that's disingenuous, right? But so I think if I were her, I would be saying more like, you know what, that was my thought process now. And I was wrong.
Well,
and my thought process now
Blake
is
stared
different.
at her PR person because there's a lame video, the Podgy video.
Yeah.
The Podgy video felt like a slap in the face. It was like, really?
Yeah.
Like I've taken some physics classes and some psychiatric classes, and I know body language.
Yeah.
Like the video is really, really bad, Paula.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you'd have did better off going a different route because
Yeah.
it was 30 years ago.
Right.
You know, I disagree with how everybody's dropping her.
Yeah.
Target, QVC, Food Network, like everybody's like, peace be gone.
You know what? You should drop her 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
But it's now, I mean, ironically, all these people will probably pick her up in 3 years. Again, right? So how stupid is that you're dropping her today for something that was 30 years ago and you'll probably pick her up? I mean, that happens all the time. People, you know, get thrown under the bus, and wasn't it Bob Costa or something?
Well, the Wiener guy, right?
Yeah.
He's leading in New York Post.
Yeah.
Same guy who 2 years ago was like,
Don't touch him.
Yeah, the smut of the earth.
Untouchable. Yeah.
So, you know.
So, all right. Well, you have been tuning in to the most popular internet marketing and SEO podcast on iTunes. This is podcast number 197. Until the very next podcast, my name is Chris Burris.
Charles Lewis.
Bye-bye for now.